Okay. Well, good morning, everybody. Welcome to the April 21st meeting of the Merrimack Trustees of Trust Funds. I'm Chris Christensen, and to my right is,
Bill Wilkes, trustee.
to my left,
Liz Petrides, trustee.
and
And Tom Boland, Finance Director.
thank you all very much for being here. Our first item on the agenda is the minutes of March 17th. Do we have a motion?
I will motion that we accept the minutes as written of March 17th, 2023.
I'll second that.
Any discussion, omissions, corrections?
No.
I read
Seeing
them a
none.
while ago, and they look good to me when I read them.
Okay, thank you. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. 300. Correspondence. We had a letter from the Parks and Rec Department asking about funding scholarships for the summer camp at Wasserman Park. And we've done this every year for many years, but only it's been separate under this board of late. And traditionally, we've done 2 weeks, and the cost for a week is, or for 2 weeks, I think, is $590. Does that sound right?
Per week or two for each week?
It's what's that, 285, 275
Okay.
a week? Getting expensive.
So that'd be 550.
Yeah, I think it came to 590. Let's just go for 2 weeks. So the point of discussion might be, just for comparison's sake, and since this is a new evolution to us a little bit, in terms of how much money we might want to allocate in any given year. We can obviously always spend more, well, up to a limit, but as a comparison, the Abby Griffin Fund supports police and fire, and the custodians of that fund come up annually with a number and say, this is what you can spend this year, and the fire department and the police department sort of get together and say, well, we need this, we need that, and negotiate something up to their spending limit, and then they hold a public hearing at town council meeting and award the money. And I think we're, at least in this case, probably in a similar sequence of events. So I think what we would do is vote on a particular amount. We don't need to do, an annual amount right now, but it's something we might want to take a look at as procedurally in the future. And I don't know, questions or discussion on how we should proceed?
I'm just unclear from the emails that was sent. So last year there was 9 individuals who received scholarship assistance. Sounds like they want more than 9. How many more are we talking?
Well, they're not getting them all from us.
Okay.
They get some from individuals and some from
The Rotary
Rotary Club and
Okay.
other organizations in town. Last year, they had, in round numbers, 1,100 campers. This year, so far, they're registered for, I think, 1,200, in part because they were able to raise the pay scale and therefore hire more staff. With more staff, they handle more kids. And I don't know the percentages, but I don't think, I don't know this. I don't know that there were any kids who needed a scholarship who didn't get some kind of assistance. Not everybody gets a full ride, is my understanding. But Matt has a revolving fund that he works with, and works with Pat Murphy in the welfare office to determine who gets whatever assistance is available.
So where are these funds, if we approve 590 today. Where are the funds coming from?
The Bear Christensen Fund.
They haven't always come from there though, right?
No, because we haven't had custody of that fund. Previous times, the previous trustees of the fund made the donations before it was turned over to the town.
Okay.
So is that all that we're going after here? Just the 1 week for?
I think 2 weeks. Well, it's up to the board, but traditionally we've done 2 weeks, or that fund has done 2 weeks for the last, I don't know, 20 years.
Okay.
And I have been talking to Matt about other things the Parks and Rec Department might need. Might not come from this particular fund, but just to help build some awareness for us moving forward. So for example, the Kids Cove is reaching a point where DPW can't keep up with the maintenance as opposed to something that needs to be fully replaced. And I know the Rotary Club is working on that to take a look at it and see if it needs a complete rebuild or can be phased in, or if it's in need of some other procedural funding or replacement or repairs. I just use that as one example. Certainly there are other playgrounds and other things that the town needs to repair, replace, remove, install, whatever word you want to use.
I will motion that we give 2 scholarships, summer camp scholarships at Wasserman for the sum of $590 to be taken out of the Bear Christensen interest, I guess. Income.
Okay,
Income. Okay, I'll
That's a
second that.
second?
Yep.
I guess all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Don't have any other significant correspondence, no other bills, nothing else coming in. Moving on. Review, remove, replace, of our filing downstairs. Pat Heinrich says she's gotten about 75% done, but didn't want to continue the work without authorization from us since she's no longer a trustee. Is there any thoughts on that? You've been working with that a little bit, Tom. Do you have any input?
Only that I think what she's done has been very valuable. I think it would be, and for somebody else to kind of pick it up at this point, I think would be difficult. I guess my thoughts would be there'd be quite a bit of value in having her kind of try and complete the process that she'd started.
Good, thank you. I think it's very generous of her to spend her time
Yeah.
doing that. It's a pretty tedious operation, if you will.
Do we need a motion, or do we just give her our blessing to continue?
Good question. I think we're unprecedented here. Let's make a motion just to cover all the bases to authorize Pat to continue reorganizing our files.
Okay, I'll make that motion. A motion for Pat Heinrich to continue reviewing the trustee of trust funds documents.
I'll second that since I don't hear anybody else. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. 300.
I think she said she was back to 1942.
Well, it depends upon which file drawer you open. She's been doing it drawer by drawer. And then, as you know from our discussions about the Watkins speaking contest, she's gone into the town archives, school district archives, to find some of the, I'm going to call it original documents on that stuff.
Sounds like she concurred with the, that it was elementary through junior high and not high school,
Right.
which there was some discussion on that previously.
Yeah, if you read through the documents, there's some reference to the high grades, but that doesn't mean high school in this particular case. There were high school students. One of the documents had some numbers of enrollment. I think that was 1954. And there were 4 high school grades, but they were all going to Manchester. And if there were, I don't know the exact numbers, 35 students in the 8th grade, there were 25 in 9th grade, 20 in 10th, and down to a dozen in their senior year. So the attendance at higher grades dropped off substantially once you got past 8th grade. In any event, I think we have to, I don't think we have to do anything with that at this point. The, I did, and I think I CC'd you guys on that. I responded to that email to Amy Doyle, who's the Assistant Superintendent for Curriculum, and added Adam Carragher, who's the principal at the middle school. And hopefully we can get that going again next fall and continue with the spelling contest, which has been well received. I think there's a question that they need to resolve or resolve with us about a stipend for a teacher running the event. We've offered that. They haven't billed us for it. At the same time, the original documents specify prizes for first, second, third, fourth place. And they've taken to doing first, second, third, fourth, and then everybody else gets a prize for honorable mention. So it's a participation award to a certain extent. That's their choice, not ours. I don't think, if you read through the documents, maybe it is our purview, but I think we have the money to support the operation. We just need to perhaps lay down a little bit of a protocol for how we proceed in the future if we can get them to run the class or run the event.
And who needs to be contacting who and all that? Do we have linkage to that now, or are we? Because Pat obviously was very connected to the school administration and all that, so.
Well, except she was going to the wrong people because she had in mind high school. And so she contacted all the people at the high school who really don't have anything to do with it. So I think it's a matter of working with Adam Carragher at the middle school to get something going, and hopefully they'll kind of look at it this spring and start in the fall. There's an original document going back to 1954 where the school board specified that it should be the first Friday in November or a Friday in November. I don't remember if it's the first Friday. I don't know why they picked that particular date, but without going through every school board meeting for the last 75 years, we don't know if they ever changed that or modified it, or it just fell by the wayside. So, and obviously, all of these things changed through the pandemic, and people weren't in school to do any of these events. So I think I will continue to work with Adam. We'll press on from there unless somebody has a desire to do that or a different procedure.
I'm fine with that.
Good by me.
Okay. It seems to have all blown by, but our next item on the agenda is a letter regarding banking from Cambridge Trust Company. And basically, this is in response to the failure of Silicon Valley Bank and, excuse me, other issues in the banking industry. So I called them up and asked, we have 3 bank holdings, RF Bank, Bank of America, and JP Morgan, all of which are sound. You've seen the letter. I won't read it again because it's kind of lengthy. But I'm comfortable with our holdings and the balance sheets of the banks. I don't know if you have thoughts or questions about any of his comments.
I mean, I read their letter and I've read other letters from other banks, somewhat similar. I'm not as concerned about particular holdings we might have in, JP Morgan or whatever, but I'm just curious, like, they hold and have cash in excess of any insurance level at CTC. Do we have any concern about that or thoughts about that?
They don't on our behalf. I have no idea what they have for other portfolios that they manage.
Well, don't they have it when they, for, capital reserve and so forth? Don't they have large sums of money?
Like our capital reserves?
Yeah,
Yes, but they're all split up amongst dozens of banks, no more than 250,000 in any one place.
we're sure of that.
Yeah, we've reviewed that. Now, if you went through and looked at some of the listings, there might be 250,000 from the town, 250,000 from the MVD, and 250,000 from the school district. But those are all separate accounts, so they'd be separately insured.
I guess I'm listening to you and I don't disagree with you per se, but it'd be a question we could ask in May.
Okay. Do you have any thoughts or comments on that, Tom?
No, I was under a similar impression that all of that stuff was adequately insured.
It wouldn't hurt to ask them
No, would not.
to see what their answer is to it.
Right.
I'm not lying in bed losing sleep. The Cambridge Trust is going to have a problem, but it's a crazy world right now out there, and who knows?
Okay. Do you want to do anything further with that particular letter? Should we put it in the minutes so it's in a permanent record, or is it just kind of transient information?
I would submit it for the minutes.
Is that okay with you, Bill?
I'm fine with that.
Okay, so next item is exactly what you just brought up. The meeting in May with Cambridge Trust, and you wanted to ask him about the spread of our funds at various banks. I think banks in general is something we should be looking at. My thought was that we are right now pretty much in the realm of 3%, 3.1% dividend income, and about 33% fixed income, 67%
Equities.
equities in the common funds. not obviously in capital reserve funds, we're all in fixed income. If you can get 4.5%, 5% on treasuries, should we be moving more in that direction for some other period of time? Do you want to discuss that with them? Do we want to have a policy change? Because I think they're at that 30% mark as under our guidance.
I would hope that they'd be buying some treasuries. There's no reason why they can't under our guidelines, right?
Right.
So I would hope that they have been buying some treasuries as part of their ladder strategy. And it's something we should confirm with them in May, I guess.
Well, in the common funds, we don't ladder so much. But I think that general sense of direction is something we should be discussing and maybe give them a little bit more guidance.
I mean, I think
into-
we've conveyed to them, and if we haven't, we need to convey to them to maximize our income in a secure and safe manner. And to do that in today's world, you'd be buying treasuries right now.
Exactly. My thought is that, excuse me, although our dividend income is pretty steady in terms of a larger picture of the economy, as we have inflation and interest rates going up, it's more difficult for companies to increase their dividends. So a static level of dividends is not a growth situation the way it might be in a growing economy where dividends are more frequently increased with better earnings situations. So I'm okay with heading more towards fixed income. When we're in quantitative easing and there was no money to be had in treasuries, then it didn't make any sense to me. But I think we can ask them about that and discuss that sense of direction. We'll make a note of that.
I know our philosophy is not necessarily growth, but I've always thought that our philosophy should be income first, but also accepting growth along the way. So I don't want to see Cambridge Trust do anything radical and all of a sudden we give them a message, oh, we want more fixed income, and then they start doing wholesale selling of securities in order to change the direction. They kind of did that to us already once, and they've been, in my mind, in a recovery mode to get back on track. They kind of, swayed away from income for a while there, and we had to redirect them. So I want to be careful that we don't give them a message to go back and start selling securities like hypothetically Procter & Gamble or Home Depot, or go down the list, whatever it might be, that are good quality companies that are paying good dividends, that probably will continue to grow over time and be good for the overall portfolios. So I think we should be sensitive to that.
Okay. Liz, anything to add to that?
No, I agree.
Tom?
I think that makes sense.
Okay. Well, we'll keep that general. We may respond to whatever proposals they have in their,
I'll be interested in the timeline, like how far out they're going for, are they going 2 years, 5 years, whatever they're doing with essentially placing things for fixed income.
well, it seems right now the best deal is in 2-year items. I don't see anything in shorter terms that has a significantly bigger return.
Well, I think I totally agree with you that from a short-term standpoint, the 2-year horizon is the best place to get yield, but then what happens when those start deflating? You know, what would be your strategy to kind of replenish and replace those when they mature? So I'm curious about their overall ladder. I keep on saying ladder, but strategy in general.
All right, well, I will put this in the minutes, draft an email to them to suggest they be prepared to discuss those items in terms of timing and sense of direction. I think generally they're doing a pretty good job for us, more on the conservative side.
And then on the other thing, obviously, I'd like to understand why they sold certain things or why they added certain equities. I haven't studied that carefully to see what they have actually done. I'll try
Well,
to take
the
a look at
last
that.
quarterly statement we got a week or so ago, they hadn't really done any equities trading. They'd bought, we had some fixed income items that matured, and they replaced those with other fixed income things. But I haven't seen any new equity purchases. Those have been pretty static. Are we happy with getting the quarterly statement as opposed to the monthly statements, or is it too much to absorb all at once?
Quarterly's fine for me.
I still need to read the quarterly, but I'm fine with it quarterly.
Okay. So, future meetings. May 19th, and we'll bring Cambridge Trust in for that. And Liz Torrenjo will be the new relationship manager. Judy Knoll is moving on to other duties within the bank. So,
Just throw something out. I think in previous years, we haven't done July. Would it make sense? And I'm okay with June 16th conceptually, but would it make sense to kick the June meeting out to a later date in June and not do July? Are you okay with not doing July, Liz? What do you think? I mean,
I'm fine with whatever.
well, mid-June meeting is set so that we can receive a request for funds from the town,
Right.
get them the money, and have everything cleared through the banking system before June 30th.
that's fine.
So it all ends up in this fiscal year.
Yep.
And once
That's-
we've done that, then July is normally pretty quiet anyway.
I'm fine.
Do we have any change in, I think you were looking at $2 million. Is that still about right? I see there's a big spending spree last night at the town council meeting.
A lot of things were authorized. We won't necessarily see that money go out immediately. I need to. That's something I'm starting to focus on. My sense of things is that it might be a little smaller number than 2 million.
Okay.
Just with the vacant positions that we've had at the town, I think my sense of things is that projects are kind of being pushed down the road a little bit because there haven't been the people in place to coordinate them and get them going.
So something like the fire truck or the ambulance that they did last night wouldn't probably be expended until the next fiscal year. So we'd be looking at reimbursing that in June of 24. Is that correct?
There will be a lag at this point. I don't know. like I know the ladder truck that we authorized, the company is requiring the money to be forked over well in advance of the truck being delivered. To reserve your vehicle, you gotta give them the money, but it may not happen by June 30th.
Do you pay in full?
Yeah,
Upfront?
and then you get your truck a year or even 2 years later.
And is there a price adjustment for them holding the money for a year?
I'm not sure.
That's a heck of a nice business.
Yeah.
Warren Buffett would like that. Kind of like the insurance industry, right?
And just hold the money and dole it out a little bit at a time. All right, well, we might have that discussion when we get to June and we know what the requests are gonna be for.
Yeah, I'll have a
Capital
better
reserve
I'll
fund
have a better
reimbursements.
handle on it at the May
Chances
meeting
are that
as well.
elevator won't go in, all that quickly either.
No.
Stanley, I'm sure, has a lot of other work.
Well, I think compared to some of the other markets, there aren't as many high-rise buildings in New Hampshire as there are other places, but
They go all
more
over
and
the
more and
place.
more, you gotta have ADA compliant renovations. We still don't have an elevator in the town hall to get from the community development up to the main floor. That was in plans many, many years ago. But
That can probably be a lift. One floor. But we're not designing elevators at this meeting.
no, I was gonna say that. All right, so May 19th and then June 16th. And as usual, no meeting in July unless we come up with something in May or June that looks like it's gonna need our attention. Is that sufficient?
Yep.
Good with it.
Anything else we need to bring up or anything you want to put on for a future agenda?
I don't have anything.
I'm good.
Tom?
Nope.
Okay. There being no further business, we are adjourned. It is
9:35.
9:35. Microphone's off.